Coverage tight, spotlight on tomorrow. Who you with? Trust, you'll be delighted that you followed. At Phirst Contention, the invention. We debate sports, of course we should mention. What's that? We cover games, we don't play suspensions. We 100, so if your star's missing, we let you know your squad surely gone fishing. We never fish though, no, not our motto. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention.
I said hola, senors and senoritas. Welcome to another episode of Phirst Contention, where we guarantee not to hit no fan in the face with a basketball. Tease for another day. As you can see, a little bit crowded, but before we get started, let me introduce my esteemed colleagues. Sitting here to my left right here, Shed's block, Mr. Stephen Davis.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Strive higher every day. I'm with the fellas today.
And moving over to my immediate other left, that would be Mr. T.Y. Sosina.
Don't know what an immediate other left is, but salutations. Three's Company back together. The band is back together.
Three apart. Good show that we have here today here, folks. So, Taiwo.
Let's get it rolling. March Madness is upon us. Tourney time. We still have a few playing games to kind of get situated, but let's talk about some of these squads that we got. I mean, your thoughts?
I mean, obviously, Kentucky is the #1 favorite right now.
Exactly.
You know, these guys have been undefeated so far. They got the biggest, front line. You know, those guys produce, and Calipari, he's a great coach. So obviously, everybody's gonna pick them to win. I'm picking them to win. It's pretty much a landslide in my opinion, but we'll see what happens. It's March Madness. You never know.
It's true.
See, Steve, when you come over to this two-person set over from a solo set, you have to say, what do you see that's going to go on? What can you predict? So that way me and Ty can make fun of you later on. Of course, you're going to go with the easy out of Kentucky. Of course, that's what everyone is picking. But what is that Cinderella team that people love to see that's going to make that big run? And for me, I think it's the team that is playing right now and blowing the brakes off of Ole Miss. We're going with BYU, with Fisher, with Collinsworth right there. I think BYU, one of the highest scoring teams, has a nice run, a very nice run, to make it all the way to the Sweet 16 in my West bracket here. Ty?
We touched on the madness about it. I guarantee you tweet about how this is madness. King Leonidas from the Spartans will tweet you back. Go ahead, do it. I dare you.
Wow.
But I didn't feel like wasting no time, so I'm gonna show you my right now. Kentucky. We're just gonna leave it at that. I mean, whatever they got going on is there because I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Oh, wow.
Calipari's gonna do
This
it.
guy.
Hey,
Oh,
they lost 10 games last year. We're runner-up with a bunch of freshmen. So when you have the Harrison twins returning, you have
True.
Willie Cauley-Stein going to another level. Who's to say that this year, as sophomores, they can't actually do it?
I mean, they did make it to the national
That's true
championship
too.
last week.
That's true too as well. But who do you guys see that might be on upset alert? The team that might have a chance to make it to the Final Four, but I don't know. It's just something about them that they might end up struggling down the
For
stretch.
me, I have two of them, to
Okay.
be honest with you.
Okay.
Duke is one,
Oh wow, the Dukies.
just because the way they're built, Jahlil Okafor is going to have to take them to the promised land, and I don't believe that's going to happen. March Madness is all about different players stepping up, and team ball coming together, and you see these different upsets. Duke has been one of those teams that have just not produced the way that you would expect them to produce, especially when they're a #1 seed. So in my mind, they're going to get upset either by Georgetown or sometime in that Elite Eight. They're not going to make it to the Final Four. My other one is because I'm a Gopher. I got to go for this one, and I just don't have any faith in Wisconsin in going back to the Final Four. So I'm going to say it right now. Wisconsin, you're going to be out by somebody. It's going to be early enough for me to brag about it to all my friends and family, and you're not going to make the Final Four.
Well, there you go. Steve and his Hayden grade has come back to bring it over to the set. Ty, what about you?
My upset, I don't know if you can call it an upset. We've got #2 Gonzaga. Apparently, it's supposed to be one of the best teams that he's ever had up there.
Coach Few. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just can't get past it. I moved them on in my past brackets because I was drinking that Kool-Aid. Wasn't as good as this Kool-Aid. It wasn't. Kentucky's Kool-Aid is on point.
Oh my goodness.
But
Oh my goodness.
Gonzaga, so they may lose to Davidson. I think they may lose to Davidson.
You got some more
You
of
know
that
what?
to share?
I mean, you did pick Kentucky, didn't you? Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Oh
cool.
my goodness. Oh,
All right,
wow.
we go.
Well, you know, you
Bluefinger.
guys. Well, you said number 2 seed. You said number 1 seed. Well, let me give you 3 teams that I think that's going to be on upset alert. The number 2 team, I think Kansas is going to be on upset alert. I have them losing in the first weekend to Wichita State. The 7 being the 2 seed.
Shocker.
Georgetown, I think is going to be on upset alert early in the tournament. As I look at my bracket, I have them losing in the first round to Eastern Washington. And my last team to be on upset alert is Utah. I have them losing to Stone Cold Stephen F. Austin in the first round. Remember, a 12 always beats a 5 in every tournament. We don't know which one, but it seems they always sneak up upon us to beat one. And if I had to throw one more out there, I think Louisville is on upset alert too as well. They're not as strong as they were in the past. I know they played an up-tempo defense, but they don't have the exact scores that they used to in the past. So I think those 4 teams right there are definitely on upset alert.
I got another one that can be sort of a Cinderella story.
Okay.
I was just down in New Orleans this past weekend at the
This
Sun Belt, and I saw Kevin Ware, leading his team at Georgia State to their Sun Belt championship. He's made it all the way back to the NCAA tournament once again after what you saw happen to him at Louisville.
Gruesome.
I mean, this team, they have some players now. They have some players that you might not be aware of, but they have some NBA talent on this team. And they have a young coach that is hungry. This team has not been to the NCAA tournament in a long time, and I can feel them, building some momentum, maybe getting a few easy early wins, and then you never know what's going to happen. They got a player,
I think Steve, I think you're just in
RJ
love
can
with
shoot the
You're
ball
just in
out.
love with the story of
Yeah,
Kevin Ware
I know.
down there.
Steve,
Kevin Ware shoot the
let's
ball
not get
out.
it twisted. I mean, the coach just popped his Achilles for
Yeah,
celebrating
that's gonna be
just
a
for
problem.
getting into the tournament. Now, let them be happy that they finally got into it. Let them go to that first Thursday or Friday game. Congratulations that you guys are there. Let them get a participation medal or award.
Okay.
Hey, they made it to the bracket. They're on the bracket.
They're on the bracket.
We'll
You're
give them
on
that.
the 64.
You heard me say it first. If it happens, it happens. And
Don't
I'm
worry,
drinking the Kool-Aid
Don't
right
worry,
now.
you'll be on the show next week, and we get to clown you for that next week. But let's move on to another topic. We want to give you guys some advice about how to fill out your bracket, the do's and the don'ts of filling out an NCAA bracket. Ty, what is your first do when you're filling out your bracket? What's the first thing that you do?
I like to have a good upset.
A good upset.
A lot of these bracket formats and formats they use. If you can nail a nice early upset, you get quite a bit of points. I know I believe it was Harvard beat Wisconsin a couple years ago.
True.
And that was great. So I mean, if you can pick a really, really good upset, I mean, don't get carried away because they're seeded for a reason. And while it is madness, if you can pick a really good upset, get some bonus points for that.
Steve, what is one of your do's?
I would say make sure that you're having some variety in your picks. Don't ever have 4 number 1 seeds as the Final Four. That's really rarely ever happens.
That's a good one.
There's always a 4 team or a 2 team in there. You never know what may happen, but don't just get cliche and pick all the number 1 teams and think that's going to actually happen.
I understand. I guess one of my do's, trust your gut. If you feel that this team has been struggling throughout the season and you think they're going to go on a big postseason run, it's very rare that happens. So if a team has come down the stretch and struggled and they continue struggling when they get into the tournament, trust your gut to say they might lose in the first or second game. So trust your gut. But there are a lot of don'ts too as well. And one of my don'ts is don't pick a 16 to beat a 1. It has never happened. And for those that are picking Hampton to beat Kentucky, or Wisconsin losing to Coastal Carolina, Villanova losing to Lafayette, or Duke losing to North Florida or Robert Morris, just get over it. Just don't even do that. Don't do that. Not never should you ever do that. And that was a double negative. Not never should you ever do that.
Not never?
Not never. Steve?
Okay, I'm going to give you another not never. Not ever should you pick against Kentucky this year. Boom.
Oh, wow.
Hey, cheers. Good luck drinking that Kool-Aid. This is especially this year. Don't pick against Kentucky. Hey, the SEC tournament, they beat Arkansas 78-63, and they did not cut down the nets. Why? Because they got the bigger prize in mind. Calipari, this man has sent 19 players to the NBA, 15 of them in the first round. So
And probably about 6 more this year.
the talent's there. I'm just saying, it hasn't been done since 1975 Indiana Hoosiers, Bob Knight. But, if there was ever a time to
Pick Kentucky. And you know what the interesting part is? As we pick our Final Four teams, I don't think that this is the best Kentucky team that Calipari has had. I
you
think
did
the
mention
team with John Wall and Boogie Cousins and the team that actually won the national championship with Mr. Brow himself, Anthony Davis, are better teams compared to this team. So what are your Final Four teams, Shed? Who do you have in your Final Four? And who do you have winning it all as well, too?
Well, obviously, you know who I have winning it all. I've been saying it the last couple times.
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Kentucky, obviously.
delicious.
But also in my Final Four, I'm gonna give it to you like this. I got Arizona in there coming out. You know that they're bracket beating Wisconsin.
Okay.
Then I got Virginia. Virginia is going to be a strong team, especially if Justin Anderson. He's going to be healthy. That's going to be a team to watch out for. And then in the South region, Duke is not in there. Georgetown not in there. I got Iowa State. Iowa State.
Cyclones.
So keep an eye out for that.
The city of Ames.
Then in the end, obviously, I got Kentucky winning. You know, they're going to be playing against Virginia, though. So we'll see. That should be a real good matchup if that happens.
Ty?
Got a lot of the same going on, Steve. We did not film out at the same time.
Oh, my goodness.
Obviously, Big Blue there.
Big Blue Nation.
And then I have AZ coming out the West. I had Iowa State coming out too. There's something about the Cyclones. I mean, they're playing some good ball out there. And then in the East, we're going to show the Big Ten some love here. Here's another thing you shouldn't do. Don't sleep on a good coach.
Don't sleep on them.
Izzo and the Spartans, I have them beating Virginia. And I have them in the Final Four.
Okay.
In the championship game, in fact.
I see what you guys did there. Let's start off in the Midwest. I have Kentucky coming out of their bracket.
Boy.
I have Kentucky coming out of their bracket. In the East, I have. I was looking at this, and this was a tough bracket to choose from. You know, everybody's saying Virginia, but I'm not sold on Virginia. I'm not sold on Villanova. I'm not even sold on the 3 seed in here, which would be Oklahoma. So I'm going to go with the University of Northern Iowa. They have a kid there, Tuttle, who puts up big numbers. They beat Wichita State earlier in the season. They went on to win the Missouri Valley Conference, excuse me. So I like Northern Iowa to come out their bracket. From the South, I do like Iowa State too as well. I like Iowa State.
You love Iowa over here.
I like Iowa State. It's something with Fred Hoiberg and the governor there. And for the West, I have Wisconsin coming out the West.
Obviously.
I have Wisconsin coming out the West. And for the overall title, I'm going to give it to Wisconsin. And the reason being is because they had Kentucky on the ropes.
Walk off.
They had Kentucky on the ropes last year until one of the Harrison twins knocked down a big jump shot, and now they have an opportunity.
Freshmen.
They have an opportunity to come back with the same exact team to face off against Kentucky, and I think
Who is not the
this
same
year,
exact team.
I think Wisconsin gets it done, and I think Wisconsin cuts down the nets. They match up very well against Kentucky.
50 on Kentucky.
50 on
50 on Kentucky.
deal.
Ooh! When Wisconsin doesn't make it, it's going to be fun.
And if Kentucky loses in the first round, you're going to be very salty. You're going to be throwing up on that Kool-Aid.
Oh, my God.
Still tastes delicious.
You know, but after another week of this, let's go back to the NFL and let's talk about teams that made the biggest moves, the best moves, and the best signings, and teams that were just, like I like to say, that were kind of on the aroma of point shaving that some of them like to do sometimes. Shed, what NFL team do you think made the best signings, and what NFL team do you think made the worst signings or worst moves?
Well, the way I kind of look at it, you know, it's been a lot of movement. Chip Kelly's been doing a lot of stuff that people don't understand. And then he brings in DeMarco Murray. So that's a big move. And the only reason I think that's a big move is because he's taking him from a division rival. And who's to say that DeMarco Murray will still be that same back? Hopefully he will. In my eyes, he got a lot of carries that year. Did a lot of damage for the Dallas Cowboys, but he's injury prone. Every year it seems like something's up with him. If he can stay healthy for the rest of his career, especially in Philadelphia, that can be a huge move for them.
True.
But if he doesn't, the Cowboys are going to be laughing in his face because, they got Darren McFadden. He's been injury prone too, but with that offensive line, don't know what can happen with that. They still got Joseph Randle back there too. I mean, the Cowboys are still a legitimate threat to win that, the NFC East. But the way that, Chip Kelly kind of stole Mary, it kind of puts a little burner on the Cowboys right now.
Okay. Ty, what about you, Ty?
As much as it hurts for me to say, Green Bay.
Oh, wow.
It's not too much for them to do. They're already a great team in the NFC Championship game last year. Keep your players. This is what Ted Thompson does. He keeps his best player, Randall Cobb, back in the fold. You got Brian Bulaga back in the fold. And while they did let A.J. Hawk go, we saw them unveil Clay Matthews at middle linebacker week 10. And so, perhaps they saw this coming in. I mean, Clay Matthews, you got Julius Peppers on the outside in a passing situation. Just put him to the outside, let him do what he does. A couple other teams I want to say that did make some pretty good moves. The Jets. Revis, Scrine, and now they got Antonio Cromartie back in there.
Man,
not to mention
Rex Ryan is rolling over his grave right now. He was wishing for a secondary like this.
Now, if they bring in Drew Brees, is a rumor that I've been hearing about. That will make it even more crazy.
Number 5 against the rush was the Sons of Anarchy, Wilkinson Muhammad, Sheldon Richardson, and Harrison Damon. And so when you shore up that pass defense, which was middle of the pack last year, you're going to make some moves. And another team I want to say good, Houston Texans. Watt, Vince Wilfork, and if Clowney comes back and does what he needs to do with Roman Cornell as defensive coordinator, they're going to need that because Andrew Luck is 5-1 against them with 14 touches and 3 picks.
That's a lot of beef down there for that Texans front line.
Yeah, it is.
But, let me stay in the AFC South and let me go to Indianapolis. They made a lot of key veteran moves, getting some of the U-boys with Frank Gore and Andre Johnson. As you see there.
Recognize.
I like what they did, but another team in the AFC East, Mr. Rex Ryan, Buffalo. Buffalo was able to retain Jerry Hughes. They was able to get LaShawn McCoy. They put an offer sheet out for Charles Clay at tight end. Now, if they can figure out their quarterback situation, I think Buffalo has a chance to maybe overthrow New England for that title. You lose Revis, you lose Browner, you lose Will Folk. You're losing a lot on the Patriots defense.
But they own that division.
They do, but
No one's saying they're going to win a Super Bowl, but they own that division. Best quarterback in the division,
no disrespect to Tom Brady. He's definitely the best quarterback in that division, but eventually good things have to come to an end. And another team, and which pains me to say this, I made another great move with Seattle. The way that they stole Jimmy Graham in the middle of the night and nobody knew about it from New Orleans for a first-round pick in Max Unger to team up with Beast Mode and Russell, last name.
Wilson.
There you go. I think that would be a formidable duo and a formidable team. And a team that has that aroma of that point-shaving aroma, that team that's already throwing it in. We're going to have to go down to the Big Easy. Something's not smelling too well in the Big Easy. You're getting rid of all the offensive weapons. You got rid of Kenny Stills for pretty much nothing. You get rid of Jimmy Graham, the second best tight end. Drew Brees is up here sending out memes of kids crying and everything. You got kids crying down in New Orleans because they losing out the best player. I don't know what's going on with Sean Payton in New Orleans. I know they're trying to shore up the defense, but
I agree.
Man.
That was one of my teams too. That's kind of mailing it in. Not to mention, so you had your first round pick, Brandon Cooks, get hurt last year. Regardless of if you got a first round pick from Seattle, no one's going to come in and give you Kenny and Jimmy Graham's production in their first year. So I don't understand it. And then Oakland, they like to hang out as one of the worst teams in free agency.
Trent.
I mean, it is what it is. No one wants to go out there, but what do? They picked up a guy by the name. They got Trent. And so that's his 3rd team since being a first-round pick.
3rd overall.
And mind you,
Jim Brown called him
Trent
out.
did call himself the next beast mode, right?
Oh.
Right. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. You're in Oakland now, buddy.
We'll see about that. But
Let's move from a joke of a team to a more serious situation. Chris Borland, standout rookie linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers, another team abandoned ship, as you said, Mark, deciding to retire after his first year in the league. 24 years old, led the league in tackles from week 7 on, didn't become a starter until week 8. I mean, your thoughts on this move, not only for Chris Borland, not only for the 49ers, but for the league as a whole?
let's throw it over to the athlete first.
Well, being a former athlete and a former football player, it's kind of interesting to me just to kind of see this, you know, a young guy retiring so early. Who's to say that his passion wasn't truly there in the first place? But at the same time, it kind of sends a message because he's thinking about his long-term health. You've heard athletes talk about this all the time. Derrick Rose has mentioned this. He's thinking about his long-term health. Sorry, brother, I just had to mention that. But the fact is, for a young player to think about this, you know that parents are thinking about this. So when it comes down to youth football, you know, how are they going to manage to keep their kids in these football games or playing football at a young age? Or will they just hold off until they get to high school? Or you don't know what's going to trickle down from this type of reaction from this player. You know, do other players kind of think like that? In my mind, though, I mean, obviously, when you sign up to play football, you know what the stipulations are. You know that you're going to get injured, but that's part of the game. And if you got a love for it, if you got a passion for it, you're going to go out there and give it your all and just take the punches when it ends, you know? But at the same time, I'm trying to go out there and make a name for myself, make a legacy, have fun, make some money, all that good stuff that comes with playing this great game of football. And then at the end of the day, when I'm retired, then I can worry about my health and try to do lawsuits like everybody else doing with concussions. But at this point, I ain't thinking about it. As a player, I'm ready to just go out there and just have some fun and play the game.
Marv, what you
Shout
think?
out to Jim McMahon. I mean, Steve, you bring up a lot of good points. The one thing that definitely sticks out to me is the risk versus reward factor. When you're playing professional football, even college, also to high school, when you're playing a professional, opens up doorways that there might not be open up to you if you're, let's say, a regular student. It gives you more advantages, but there are risks that are involved when you're playing it's not a contact sport, but it's a collision sport as football. And the NFL and NFLPA has tried to make it a safer game, but it's still a violent game with violent intentions. I know an NFL player said that this is the only time, 60 minutes, where you can physically violate a man and not be thrown in jail for it.
Man.
And which we understand why Chris Borland retired, because of serious head injuries and concussions as he moves forward. We also hope that teaching kids the proper way to tackle, the proper way to block, the proper way to play football shouldn't deter soccer moms or scare fathers of enrolling their kids into playing football, because it is a great sport. It is a great opportunity, and it teaches you a lot of things that a lot of other sports might not teach you as well, and gives you life lessons as well.
We discuss teaching and the trauma. What does it boil down to? CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy. This is the progressive degenerative disease of the brain. And this is something that we see in a lot of football players. We saw in a lot of boxers. And you talk about the lawsuit that the league had against, you know, all these former players. Looks like it was settled in 2013, but there were over 4,500 names that included Junior Seau, Dave Dorson, who can forget in Kansas City, Javon Belcher, John Mackey, great tight end, even Chris Henry. Players alive today, Brett Favre said, you know, he has CTE. So when that information is out there, because knowledge is power, and for a man who can be playing the game that he loves, to really leave all that money on the table and walk away, it says a lot.
You know, so Steve, let me ask you a question. Since you are the former Big Ten athlete, the former captain of the Gophers football team, what made you want to play football? And did you think about concussions, or did you think about the injuries moving forward? And if you were in Chris Borland's position, would you continue to play in the NFL, or would you want to retire early?
Well, I mean, to each his own. Obviously, you know, different athletes have their different mindsets. For me personally, I probably wouldn't have retired just because if I made it to that level, I tried so hard, you know, in my career, played so many years to get to that level, and now that I'm there, I have to be ecstatic, have to be taking advantage of that opportunity. And just being in the NFL, you just gotta love that environment. Everybody's watching you. You know, you're playing on Sundays, you're playing on prime time. This is your dream. This is your passion. So for players like me, I'm not thinking about injuries. I'm not thinking about concussions. I'll worry about that, like I said, as I retire. But right now, I'm just trying to go out there, have fun. And it's not too many people in the world can do what they do and make a living. You know, so you're like one in a million type of person that can have that opportunity, go out there and play a game to get money.
You make a lot of money. A lot of money doing it.
I wouldn't turn that down, personally. But like I said, to each his own. Some people have their own mind states. And who's to say there might be some more players that kind of thinking the same thing, you know, thinking about their head trauma and all this stuff that's coming out with CTE. Who you don't even know which players actually have that yet. It kind of comes a little bit later, but if you have concussions, you know, you're susceptible at actually getting it. So it's something to think about, but if you like a die-hard football player, you just want to go out there and be in the trenches and just go out there and don't think about things, then obviously it's not on your mind.
Understandably so. Well, thank you, Shed. Thank you for that input. Well, we have a new segment on this show. Shed has come over to our section, but we have replaced Shed's block with something a little bit more entertaining. Phirst Contention's social media roast. Roasting. And our first roast goes to...
we all saw this one.
Uh-oh. Right in the face.
And now, be texting on the front row, though.
I know. She was texting right on the front row, and what did Lance Stevenson and Gerald Henderson do? Make you pay attention.
Oh, yes.
And this is not the first time that they have knocked people out before. They knocked out a girl that was walking across the stage before. They've been beaming people left and right. So if you're going to a Hornets game or if you're watching a Hornets play, watch out. If you're sitting in the front row, there could be basketballs flying all over the place.
The Hornets for a reason.
Yeah, pretty much.
Over to Philadelphia. They were sad when McCoy went a running, but when Murray came, everyone looks like they're a little happy.
Okay.
Little creativity right there.
I mean, but that's obviously McCoy. Just get a New Jersey.
Hey,
just get a New Jersey.
Times are hard nowadays.
Yeah. You see Michael Irvin and all these commercials about fake jerseys and everything. He needs to talk about that.
Hey, yeah.
He needs to talk about that.
Happy with Murray. Meanwhile, in Dallas, it's a little bit of a different story out there.
Talking about a real life roast that is going down there in Dallas.
Roasting the Murray.
This is why do people?
See, I'll never understand why fans do that. I mean, you pay money for that, so you're just burning your own money pretty much. The player probably don't even think about that. I mean, I wouldn't think about that as a player.
Man, you know you'll be in your tears crying if somebody burns up your 56
Kevin
Minnesota
Love
jersey.
didn't care.
Man, they act like it's Murray's fault that he had to go there anyways.
Well,
Right.
it was. Jerry Jones didn't pay him, but we'll say that for another story.
I want to know why this guy looks like this.
He looks like a
Little creeper.
Yeah,
I got that Murray jersey, though.
But let's go on to the Jets. After Revis left,
Lance making another appearance.
Yeah, no, Lance making another appearance to save the Revis shirt.
See, this is why you don't burn your jerseys.
Exactly.
Ding, 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 ding.
Exactly
Cleveland.
right there.
Cleveland knows about that.
Yeah, and well.
Oh, read this.
And we was talking about how the Jets made a lot of good free agent signings. We finally know the real reason why.
Wow.
Yeah, middle of the pack in pass defense last year.
Gino, we got faith in you, brother. You can't be this horrible, right?
Will for sure be it. Number one overall pass defense this year if they face Gino for 16 games.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Gino can't possibly throw it
Can't
to.
be that bad, right?
Can't possibly throw it to anybody else unless he throws him on the sideline.
We'll see if we can get some reports of how many interceptions he throws in practice because I know there was a report that came out last year.
You know,
But they got Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker now. You can just toss the ball in flat, right?
yeah, but we all
Seeing is believing.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. It's better off probably having, I don't know, Percy Harvin come back and throw passes, but we'll see about that.
Or Tim Tebow.
Oh.
Whoa.
And his name was in the media today. But Ty?
Well, folks, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys appreciate the new layout. Let us know. But don't forget, like the video, like us on Facebook, Follow us on Twitter while you're at it. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Photo right across this little black space right here. For Shed, I'm Marvin Banks, and for Mr. T.Y. Sosina, signing off.
Trays up.
Ride with Phirst Contention, that's full throttle in. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention. We sport on deals, on court, on fields. The victors, the vengeance, the legends, latest invention. Phirst Contention. Game face grit, like born for playoffs. Say it all in small time like payoff.